Chapter 2, Checkpoint Assessment. It's our final 3 slides, 10, 11 and 12. Remembering, obviously, that in the final few slides, we do have to be a bit careful with some of the terminology. These are the slightly harder questions which are being asked to do. So let's get started. Okay, we've got our distillation setup, and we're being asked to label with the appropriate types of water in each case. Let's have a look. We'll start with down here. Well, anytime we're doing an experiment, we've got this our original liquid here, our original solution, and that is the seawater. Okay, we're trying to separate out the pure water from the seawater. So we've got pure water in. If we jump over to the beaker, this is what we're trying to. We've got seawater in, and if we jump over to the beaker, we're trying to produce pure water. How do we do that? Well, firstly, we heat the seawater. That evaporates and that forms steam. Okay, then that steam travels up and through our condenser. Inside the condenser, our steam becomes pure water. It is cooled down and changes state. So in there's a mixture of steam and pure water. That pure water is going to trickle down into our beaker. How do we cool down that water? We do it by putting in some tap water into the condenser. The condenser itself has cold tap water, which is taking the energy out of our steam and allowing it to form our liquid state. Be very careful for this one, folks, because there is very easy to make calculation mistakes here. We're going to calculate the amount of mass which does not dissolve. So here we're dealing with saturated solutions. Let's take a look. First one's fairly simple. I'll get my calculator up just to show you. Okay. Here we've got my calculator. All right. Now we're being told we want to add 100 grams of magnesium nitrate to 100 grams of water. So let's have a look at the solubility. Okay, 100 grams of magnesium nitrate. Well, we're told the solubility in 100 grams of water is 70. That means 70 grams will dissolve. We started off with 100 grams. We've dissolved 70 grams. Okay, so we're left with 30 grams here. So I'm going to write in a number, 30. Let's now look at the next one. We're adding 50 grams of beryllium sulfate to 100 grams of water. Okay, and again, we just need to have a quick look at the numbers here. We started off with 50 grams. We're allowed to dissolve 39. And so therefore, whoops, can't even use a calculator, minus 39, that's giving us 11 grams. So far so good, I think. Now the question gets a little bit harder. We're going to add 200 grams of potassium fluoride to 200 grams of water. So if we had 100 grams of potassium fluoride, we would be able to dissolve 95 grams. However, we've got double that, and so, i.e. we've got 200 grams of water, so therefore we can actually dissolve double this. 2 times 195, that's 190. Let's just check my maths there. We can see we can actually dissolve 190. We started off with 200 grams of the solute, and we dissolved 190. So we're actually left with 10 grams, okay? I can understand if you made a mistake here because it's a little bit fiddly with the maths. Now we've got 40 grams of sodium chloride into 50 grams of water. And again, we have to be a bit careful because if we've got 100 grams of water, we can dissolve 36. However, I've only got 50 grams, so actually I have to divide that by 2. I've got 18 grams there, okay? And then I must subtract that 18 from my 40 to get 22 grams, okay? So just be careful with your maths there, making sure you pay attention to the amount of water that we had in the first place. Last slide, we're just thinking about the types of separation techniques we would use here. Be careful with spelling on Corbuto because it does pay attention to that. Firstly, we've got to obtain salt from a mixture of sand and salty water. We're first going to filter it, filtration, and then we're going to evaporate it. We want to obtain green pigment from a spinach leaf. We're going to use chromatography. We're going to obtain water from seawater, not salt. We're going to use distillation. We want to obtain salt from seawater. We're going to use evaporation. And then lastly, to obtain copper sulfate crystals from a mixture of copper sulfate and sand, we're first going to use filtration and then evaporation. Okay, I hope that helps. Please check your answers compared to mine and make sure you've understood where you've had some mistakes before you move on.